I'm Kainton, the Tech Pro, and today we are going to be talking about another problem that has always been difficult to solve by new data scientists or newbies or new data analysts, and that's about differentiating between Numpy array and Pandas DataFrame, or differentiating between an array and a data frame. Now, before I continue, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel. The reason is because it motivates me to keep making these lessons. And also, if you have any challenges following my lessons, please let me know. Leave me a comment below to let me know. If this is informative for you, feel free to like it now or at the end of the lesson. So subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below. All right, let's talk about Pandas array and data, NumPy array and data and Pandas data frame. And after now, we are going to use Jupyter Notebook to explain, to actually illustrate how these two things differ. Now, when we talk about NumPy array, we talk about something like an array of values like matrices or vectors or some collection of items in a list. It may be two-dimensional, it may be more. So what we are saying is that, let me just take a pen. I think I can just use let's say let me just use maybe a red pen. So let's take, for instance, we have a matrix A is equal to 2, 5, 6, 7, 3, 1. So if you have something like this is an array. And is a NumPy array. You can use this to create a NumPy array. It's efficient to work with a NumPy array when you are dealing with matrices or collections like this. Or maybe you can have B is equal to 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 9, 11. Again, this is a NumPy array or an array. Now, NumPy array and an array, they are similar, but they are different. I'm going to tell you the difference. Now, let's assume you have x and you want to find sine x, you want to find cos x, and we have a series of values for x, and we are trying to find sine x and cos x. You use a Pandas data frame. Now, when you read data from an Excel file or from text file or from a CSV, you import it into Jupyter Notebook as a data frame. But in this case, we are talking about creating a data frame. So we can actually create a data frame in this way by generating series of values and creating a tabular data frame like the one you see. So in this case, we may have 2, 4, 6, 8, and then you have sine x, whatever it is, it continues in that way. You generate it in Python. Now you can also convert that. This is very important. You can convert from a NumPy array and convert it to a Pandas data frame. All right, let's go to the fun part. Let's try to illustrate all this using Jupyter Notebook. So if you have Jupyter Notebook, open it and simply go to New, Python 3. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to create a NumPy array, and so that you see how it works. So for instance, the first thing we are going to do is to import NumPy and also import pandas. So I'm going to say import pandas as PD and import NumPy as NP. All right. So I'm going to run the two cells. Now let's start with a NumPy array. Or we start with an ordinary array, so we can say A is equal to 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 4. This is an array, but not a NumPy array. A is equal to 1, 3, 4. Actually, you need to enclose in double square brackets. Okay, so this problem is normal. I'll explain to you where it's coming from. So if you put a space at this point, you can see a space before the A, Jupyter Notebook is gonna complain. All right. So if I check the value of A, you can see that it displays 134. This is an array. Now to create a NumPy array, we can say A is equal to np.array. So in this way you create an array and then pass it the array 1, 3, 5 or 134 as the case may be. And now if I view A, you can see that there is a little difference. It tells you array. Now why NumPy array is very good is because it's necessary for visualization. For instance, let's create a two-dimensional array, and let's see that it is better to have a NumPy array for two-dimensional array than just to have an ordinary array. So let's say E is equal to, this time we are creating a two-dimensional array. Let's say 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, and the second row we have 4, 5, 6, and let's say a third row we have 5, 4, 7, 3. So I'm going to run this as well, and I'm going to check what E is. You can see that E is an array, a simple array, as you can see. Now, if I want to create a NumPy array, I can simply take this and give it to a NumPy array function. So I can say f is equal to np.array, and I pass it this function. And if I run it at this point, you can see that it works. But the interesting thing is that when we visualize it, f, you can see that it displays the normal way a matrix displays. So you don't only need to know about arrays, but you need to know about NumPy arrays. Now let's now talk about data frame. Remember, I gave an example of a data frame in the initial part of the presentation. So let me try to see if I can minimize this. Okay, so it doesn't. I don't know. I can't get the okay. All right. So what I'm trying to do is to create a series of values for x. Let's say x is equal to 1 to 10. We find sine x, cos x, and then create a data frame. So to do that, what we can do is, let's say, call the data frame. Let's call the data frame df. Okay, is equal to. One thing we can do is to generate the values first. So we can say x is equal to np dot, of course, to generate series of values, you use the function linspace, and you specify the range between, this time, let's say from 1 to 10. We want to generate 10 values from 1 to 10, and we want to generate values between these two range, and want to generate 10 values, right? We can actually say 20 values. In that way, it will say 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and generate 20 values. But for now, we want just 10 values. So if I run it at this point, everything works. We have x. So if you want, you can actually check what the value of x is, and you can see it's an array. That is fine. Now, we now want to create this table we have right here. That is the table we want to create. So I'm going to just say PD, let's call it df, is equal to create a data frame, you use the data frame function in Pandas, pd.dataframe, and open and close brackets, and then open and close curly braces inside. Make no mistake about it, sometimes new programmers or new data scientists get confused about this. Specify the header. In this case, the header for the first column is x. So specify the header and specify the series of values for that particular column. The series of values, for sure you know, is x. The next thing you want to do is to put a comma and then go for the second column. In this case, the second column, we specify the name of the header. What we want the header to be is sine x. It's just a caption, a label, and we specify the values for that column. To get the sign of a number, you use np.sign. Sign function is under NumPy. or it's under NumPy. So sin x, that is fine. And put a comma and go for the last one. The header is going to be cos x, and the value is going to be np.cos x. So hopefully everything should be okay. Let's try to run it and see if everything goes perfectly well. So everything goes well. Let's now view this data frame to see what we have there, whether everything actually did go well. So I'm going to run it at this point, and you can see we have a beautiful data frame right here. You may also ask, how do you round it off and stuff like that. Now I'm going to treat about rounding up numbers in a different lesson. I want to now talk about briefly how to convert from a NumPy array to a Pandas data frame. So let's say we have this f, which is a NumPy array, as you can see. So let's say df, we want to convert to a data frame from f. So you simply say pd df2 is equal to pd dot from records, from underscore records, and you specify the name of the array you want to convert to a data frame. In this case, the array is f. So if I run it, hopefully it's gonna be fine. Has no attribute from records. Maybe it should be from records. Pandas has no attribute. I think it should be from pd.from records. Okay, pd.from records. So permit me to just quickly check, because I already did this before now. So let me see. Okay, so I worked on this Pandas data frame. So written Excel file, I can't remember if I have it. Okay, so let me see. It should be pd.from records. Let's see. From records. From records. Okay, from records. From dot records. Okay, at this point, I can't figure out where this problem is coming from. So maybe I'll handle this in the next part. But please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any challenges, let me know. I remain kind on the Tech Pro, and we'll see you in the next lesson.